Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about blockchain, get a little brief understanding of what blockchain, simple understanding of what's going on with blockchain and why it's so secure and how we're using it. Just I'm going to go very basic. All right, excuse my artwork. As you can see, it's not all that fancy, but it will help you get a better grasp of what's going on. I hope you understand a little bit better on what's going on. Anyway, I think so. So in the center here, this sphere, there is a bunch of little circles inside of it, and all these little circles represent nodes or computers, right? Each one of these computers have what's called a ledger on them, and each one of these computers in either circle, or even the one that's in the center, aids in processing transactions, meaning sending and receiving the cryptocurrency of your choice. You know, I'm biased towards ADA, so let's just keep it towards ADA. All right. The circle in itself kind of represents the symbol of ADA, but my artwork absolutely sucks. All right. So the first point is that there's decentralized networks of independent systems, meaning that not one system here controls the other system. All of them are independently working inside the network, right, to process transaction and to ensure security. So what I mean by that, wallet A here wants to send some ADA over to wallet B, right? And wallet B gives ADA the address, gives wallet A the address to send over the funds. So now wallet A executes that command, it goes through the blockchain, and then the blockchain processes the transaction, sends the confirmation that the transaction has been initiated over to wallet B. Now it's not 100% until each one of these computers in consensus, right, depending on how many confirmations the system is set up for, will then confirm the transaction. And how do they confirm the transaction? They want to make sure that wallet A has the right amount of funds in its balance first, and then if it does have the right amount of funds within its balance, it want to make sure that the address that it's going to is one of the network addresses, not that it's wallet B's address. It could be wrong, right? They could have put, wallet A could have put one character off or whatever the case may be. And once it does confirm that, then it sends a transaction. It allows the transaction to be sent, and then wallet B gets the confirmation. And then within a consensus system that the network confirms that all that stuff is true and is valid, it allows wallet B to now custody that amount of tokens, whatever it was. Could have been 100 ADA, 1,000 ADA, 1,000,000 ADA, whatever it is. Custody that ADA at that point. That it's wallet B's ADA. Point 2, each of these nodes having an independent ledger history, meaning that each system, no matter which node actually process a transaction, right? And they do that by minting the block. And when it mints the block, it has these transactions inside of them. But each one of these nodes or computer systems will have the same identical ledger, right? The same bookkeeping that the one node also has that's processing the transaction. Okay? So they do that in a consensus confirmation, and they call validating the transaction. So they validate it by making sure that A, the balance is correct inside the wallet, funds being sent from, and that is going to another network address, right? And it writes that in its history. And then that history can always be pulled up at a later time, right? And we talked about how each is aiding to process the transactions, right? Because they work in a consensus system, right? A confirmation system to say that the ledgers are correct, and they're going to make the additional corrections to the ledger that these transactions have happened. Now, each aiding to keep the network secure, right? So we all know that we're part of stake pools, or we all may not know that. So there's stake pools, and these pools use a certain amount of ADA to help keep the network secure, right? And process transactions in the same token by minting blocks, right? And the heavier the weight of a pool, meaning that the more amount of ADA that's sent to a pool, then the less possibility of the network being compromised. Now, the network can be compromised if it was more centralized, meaning that a lot of ADA was with one wallet, something like 51%. So they would need something like 16.5 billion ADA in a wallet or in control of to attack the network and then bring it down, so to speak, right? But as each one of these networks are independent, they all have a certain amount of ADA within them that is not controlled by a complete entity or person, then that can happen, right? Each in cross communication, which is number 5, with one another, is at these lines, right? So these lines ensure that all of these systems are cross communicating, and if any one of them were down, it will still work the same way. So now if this was Bitcoin and not ADA, it works the same way in a sense that the ledger information is shared throughout the nodes, right? The process of securing the network is a little bit different. It's a lot different. It's not a little bit different, but it's a lot different. I don't want to get into that now. It's a little complicated, so just want to keep things simple, right? And then let's go to number 6. Number 6 is together validating transactions. So as we discussed before, when these wallets were interacting with one another, right, the nodes have to validate that accuracy of the amount of ADA being sent and the amount of ADA that was balanced in the initial wallet is correct. And that goes the same for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most projects. And then number 7, all of them working together is just like I said before, all these systems are working together to ensure security, accuracy, and so forth. So unlike your bank, right? So if you had a bank account, you wouldn't have this type of network setup. It would be one computer system, centralized computer system, right? Centrally controlled by an individual and may have errors. And I don't know about you, but when I had financial errors in my bank statements or bank account or bank balance, I always had to bring proof to the bank that I deposited a certain amount of funds, or I didn't approve a transaction or whatever the case may be to show them that it wasn't me and have them handle it, right? Or that they had an incorrect balance at said point. I had this balance, and then at another point, the balance is now different. I had to show them proof, and then they have to do an audit of the system and then correct it. So it's a lot different. It's 10 times more secure, and it helps you manage your own funds, right? You don't throw your money out to somebody else and then you're paying them to manage your money, and it's not worth it. They gain all the benefit, but you gain really nothing. So this in a nutshell is a real basic understanding of what goes on within the blockchain, right? So in all reality, even though you have these wallets, your funds are literally still within this ecosystem, right? The wallets are just an interface to access what is yours in the network or considered yours in the network. Now, that doesn't mean that anybody within this network has the ability to take your funds, right? Because they're literally part of the network. They don't have that option, right? And I'll get into that maybe in a later video. I want to talk about how important NFTs are and why Cardano built the system the way that it did to give you a better understanding of why I love Cardano so much. I really believe Cardano will make huge difference in this world in the coming years. Well, that's about it. If I was too basic and if you want to know more details, leave me a comment or contact me. Whatever the case may be, if you want to talk about it, my number is 929-420-8488. And you can contact me anytime after 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is more or less the best time, even on weekends. All right. If you need to get in touch with or want to find out more about our services, come over to blackstarstakepool.com or blackstarpool.com. Hit the contact us page tab and contact me. All right. We also have social media links: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Telegram. Select any one of them at the bottom, and it'll bring you right to it. Okay, so that's the end. Thank you for watching. Please like and share. Black Star, we are the light in the darkness. Peace.